Yeah, that was actually the first track me and Timbaland did. Yeah, and I mean, the way we worked, it was very quick. He would just throw beats, and he's got this guy that works for me called Nate, and he would just do bass lines or whatever, and very, very immediate. And 1 minute later, I'm singing a melody on top of it, and 3 hours later, we had 4 songs. It was very quick, and yeah.
What's it about?
I guess that particular track is probably about, like, coincidentally, I happened to be just before that in Indonesia, and I've been invited by UNICEF to visit the areas hit hardest by a tsunami, and so it just kind of all went. I was there for a few days, and probably all just sucked it up, but I just couldn't even react to it. It was just too much, and then I had to take several airplanes and go to New York, and maybe sort of in a fit of some sort of a jet lag, and kind of flying, trying to sleep in airplanes. I sort of had this kind of dream that I dreamt that a tsunami of people would kind of go over the airplane and hit the White House and sort of scrape it off its ground. And I sort of was in the dream looking at the floor tiles, because that was something that was really weird in Indonesia, was that you could see just a whole town had just been scraped off the ground, but you could still see the floor tiles, and you could go, okay, this is the bedroom, this is the bathroom, and then just all the mud and the bones, and people still digging out with teaspoons and finding toys of, and like I was with a woman who found her mum's favourite dress there, and sort of crying, kind of pulling it out of the mud, and it was pretty fierce. So maybe this dream is like this sort of peculiar, naive fantasy, sort of stuff you dream about, that maybe a tsunami of people will take over the White House and correct the... But it's a very chaotic song. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to put words to it, because obviously at the end of the day it was nature that created this event, but also UNICEF was showing me a lot of pamphlets about AIDS in Africa, and I was looking at all that probably when I was falling asleep, and trying to convince me to go there and do something there, and the war in Iraq doesn't exactly help the state in the world. So maybe this song is a little bit sort of a mega mix of those things. It's a lot of things to be in one little song, but sorry, it's a bit chaotic song, but it's sort of maybe speculation on the human tribe, globalization, that we all are, and we are just the human tribe. That song for me, I mean, I'm finding that a lot of people don't take it that way, but which is okay. I seem to have some sort of a warped sense of humour that, like, me and my 3 friends can understand. It's very local, you know, the swan dress, for example. But that particular song, every time it starts, I just burst laughing. I just find it very funny. But it's, I guess it's sort of taking the piss of being, I don't know, maybe even myself, you know, feeling that confrontational. And I mean, I wanted the lyric to be a mix of, like, if it's really, if you're saying to your friend who happens to be going out with a terrible boyfriend or whatever, and you say to the girl, you know, declare independence, you know, don't let them do that to you. I just thought it's so extreme, and it's kind of ridiculous, you know, thing to say. You're like, make your own stamp and start your own currency, you know. And then the other hand, you could take that song completely different, which is a big thing here in the papers always in Iceland, that, you know, Denmark was we were a Danish colony for 600 years, and we got independence like half a century ago. And there's still 2 Danish colonies, which is Faroe Islands and Greenland. And they're still trying to get independent, and it's not happening. And Greenland almost got independent, and I think the Danish found oil there, so it's not going to happen. So it's sort of maybe a little bit of an anthem written to Greenland. It's more like the songs just kind of happen and then I sort of say it in an interview like this, and I try to explain it afterwards.
Yeah,
but,
so it was about all these things.
but I don't mind that. I mean, maybe because I've been doing this for a long time, maybe slowly my body's adapted to it, and I happen to do my albums with the right hemisphere, and then once I've given the tapes away to the record company, and I know I can't even fiddle with it, I do interviews and I can switch over to the left hemisphere, and then I can sort of try to sort of explain what it is from the outside, but I think it's healthy too, because I think it's good to have to sometimes explain. I mean, up to a certain degree, of course, but and it also leaves me less isolated. I think isolation can be a bad thing. I think it's good to get questions that, especially the ones that I never even thought of, kind of like, okay, just put the thing onto the side, and I think it's healthy for me.